The world is wrong, and one man can save it. Welcome to the Complete Story Series. We take trade paperbacks and single issues and we break them down into digestible bites to help you understand. Then every reader dramatically back to you. All alterations to the panels, text, and images are to prevent copyright problems, and all art is owned by its respective companies. This is the sequel to Old Man Logan, and it takes place during an event known as the Secret Wars in Battle World. This is a part of our initiative to get you caught up for the all-new, all-different Marvel, which includes stories from Battle World, Secret Wars, and even pre-Secret Wars. This one is from the Battle World. Every universe in the Marvel multiverse ended, and they merged into Battle World under God Doom. Most people's memories were altered to make them think the Battle World was the correct world, and simple rules like leaving your area kept people believing them. Well, most people. When we last left off with Logan, he had murdered the Hulk gang, and he swore to fix his world, which was being run by the villains ever since the heroes lost, and he set off on this quest. This leads us to a gang having a poker game, talking about how the Hulks are dead and everyone is grabbing up their territories. One guy in a Daredevil mask says that he heard it was a single guy, and his friend in the Iron Man mask asks him, "What guy?" That's when Logan is standing in the doorway. "Might be this guy." And he cracks open a beer and takes a sip. The man in the Iron Man mask tells him that he has 3 seconds to get out of there. So Logan steps forward and pours the beer on the guy in the Daredevil mask's head. 2. The Iron Man guy stands up. "End him!" And Logan lunges forward, gutting the man. And then he guts every thug there. Blood, body parts, and bullets fly around the room until Logan is thrown out a window and onto the roof of a Jeep. He stands up screaming, and then he shows his claws to the only man left, the man in the Daredevil mask. "Take off that mask," he tells him. And the man does, and he begins to beg. "Please, I didn't do nothing." "You wear this uniform, and you don't even know who this is?" It's just cool." So Logan guts him with the rest and he walks away. The people of the town walk over. "What are we supposed to do now?" "You're free, you're welcome." But the townspeople don't look too happy with him. "You can build something new. You can build something worth living for." He then calls for his horse. "I'm old enough to remember a time that hadn't gone to hell. It doesn't have to be like this. I'll be back, and if you haven't built something worth living for, I'll burn this place down and someone else will start over." He then rides off onto the dusty trail. As he's riding off, he comes across the head of an Ultron as it lands in front of him. He picks it up and he looks at it, and then he looks into the sky. Huh? Logan then goes home where the baby Hulk that he rescued from before is sitting comfortably, being raised by Danny Cage, the daughter of the real Luke Cage. Logan makes sure that she's okay and that baby Hulk is okay, and then he sets off on his mission to figure out where this Ultron head came from by going to a nearby town, known as a tourist attraction due to it being the final resting place of Thor's hammer before he fell. This place is where you can buy a Fantastic Four t-shirt or an Iron Man mask, and it's very popular. Except no one's here. Logan walks through curious as to where everyone is until he gets a whiff of Emma Frost. He walks in and she shows him Jean Grey and he tells her, "Emma, stop this. I'm not Scott. I don't like it when you mess with my mind." So she changes into a young Emma, one that Logan will recognize. "Stop, Emma. Show me the real you." "A girl has to keep some of her dignity, Logan," she tells him. Emma explains that when Logan killed the Hulks, he started a domino effect. The balance of the territory shifted and she ended up here. But the Punisher showed up and killed everyone. She tried to help, but she only made things worse and made them crazier. She lays down on the bed and tells Logan that she knows where the head came from and why he's here. She can read minds after all. But Logan should stop what he's doing. He can't save the world. That's Doom's job. He turns looking at her oddly for that statement and then he watches her illusion fade. She grows older and he can see the bullet wound in her gut. She's dying. "You had one hell of a run, Frost." "Logan, I miss teaching." "Yeah, me too. When I saw you walk in, I thought you were the angel of death, here to take me." And as her voice trails off, Logan gets up and he walks to the wall. A mighty dividing wall that he doesn't even remember when it was built. It just showed up one day. He sticks his claws into it and he begins to climb. And once he reaches the top, he can see for miles and nothing looks right. "What is this?" he asks. That's when a Thor from the Thor Corps floats in front of him. "What you are doing is forbidden." "What the hell are you supposed to be? And why are you dressed like a dead man?" The Thor hits Logan with the full force of their lightning, and he falls off the wall and lands in the forest down below. He gets up, and as he heals, he runs into Sabretooth with a collar around his neck, claiming to be one of the Horsemen. The soldiers with Sabretooth begin to riddle Logan with bullets, but before they can continue their fight, there's a kathoom! As lightning hits the ground and Storm appears with the X-Men. They look at Logan in shock. How is it possible? It looks like his dad's dad! But before he can hear any more, he's shut down by Emma Frost. He wakes up in his own mindscape with Emma trying to figure out what's going on. He remembers her dying a few hours ago, and she remembers him being dead as well. How are they both here? But that's a question that they're both going to have to worry about later because Sabretooth and the Horsemen blow up the wall. Magneto turns to Wolverine. "You brought this on us!" And he throws him out into the streets, where he lands in front of Apocalypse! But the Thor finally returns and demands that Logan be returned to her. He is to be punished. The Thor throws down lightning and in the process injures the X-Men and Apocalypse's Horsemen. A fight ensues as the X-Men and Apocalypse's men all begin to fight it out, and Logan sneaks away from the battle to walk up a building, where he jumps on the Thor, slicing and dicing her. She screams at him, "You dare lay a hand on me!" and strikes him with lightning, throwing him far, far away, as she turns her attention to the X-Men and the Apocalypse battle. Logan has no idea where he's going, but it's far beneath him that there is a city, and it's growing closer and closer until he hits the ground hard. He wakes up in a lab with Tony Stark and Rhodey next to him. Tony starts in with fast questions. Who are you? Where did you come from? How are your bones laced with adamantium, and how much for that metal? Logan asks him, where am I now? And then he looks out the window at multiple suits of armor flying around, and Tony tells him, Technopolis. Tony then looks at him. You're from over the wall, aren't you? Do you know my name? Logan looks at him. Tony Stark. Aha! I'm so famous they even know me from over Lord Doom's wall. Lord Doom? Rhodey steps forward. Do you have an issue with Lord Doom? That's when Logan sees Rhodey is holding a Thor hammer. Of course not, why would I? So Tony sits him down. Your body is fighting off the deadly tech virus in our atmosphere to a standstill, but how? Logan gets up and begins to walk out of the office. Thanks for the help, but I have to go. Rhodey stops him. I can't let you leave. You attacked a Thor and you left your domain without permission. Without permission. Problem is, old man, you've left your domain. That is forbidden. There's that word again. Logan then turns to Tony. You remember me? I'm sorry. That armor of yours remember me? No, I'm sorry. The X-Men? Who are the X-Men? Rhodey begins to charge up his hammer and Logan pops his claws. But he can't take the might of Thor's hammer as he's thrown back against a wall, unconscious again. He wakes up in the zombie territory, a land of punishment for people who have stood against Doom, where he's being eaten over and over again. He wonders if this is hell or a test from God, but he knows none of that is correct. His only reprieve from being eaten is when the zombies are distracted and they run off. But during one of those times, he runs into a cave where he meets Jennifer Walters, the She-Hulk. She doesn't know who he is, but once again, he remembers his version, and she explains that Almighty Doom has sentenced her here. This is her punishment. Once again, Logan picks up on that weird terminology, Almighty Doom. He asks her why she hasn't just jumped out of here yet, and she tells her, she can't do that, it's just too high up. So he asks her, can you throw me? Suddenly the zombies find them and the fight begins again with Logan slicing up as many of them as he can. Rage fills him as She-Hulk grabs him and begins to jump away. Higher and higher, and then she throws him out of zombie territory, telling him that if he sees any Hulks, be nice to them. And then he watches as the world is left behind again, and She-Hulk is taken by a flying zombie. Once again, he begins to fall farther and farther until he lands on the roof of a building. He gets up and he sees New York, the old New York from his past. Has he fallen through time this time, or is this another one of those weird worlds he seems to be traveling to? He looks around and he remembers where all of this began, with Ultron's head falling in front of him. Something is off about this entire world that he's in. She-Hulk keeps mentioning Almighty Doom, and he remembers the arguments with Rhodey and Iron Man, and Apocalypse just being there, and multiple people with Thor's hammers. None of this makes sense. Logan falls to his knees screaming, "Ah!" And then he sees the superhero battle going on above his head, and he ignores it. He climbs down off the building and grabs some clothes out of a bin, and then starts to walk through the streets, only to be stopped by Emma Frost again, another version, and a very young Jean Grey. You look old as dirt, Wolverine, but considering you were dead yesterday, I guess that's an improvement. He begins to smell them and he realizes this is them. Emma reads his mind and Jean joins her, and they both see everything that he's gone through and everything that has happened to him. So Emma asks him, Logan, can I hug you without you stabbing me? And they embrace. You don't need to be scared of me, Jeannie. I'm sorry, but I'm more scared of what's in your head. That can't be helped. Emma then decides she's going to give Logan what he deserves after all of this, a reunion. So they bring him to a room and they give him a meal. while he gets to see all of his old friends alive and well again. The X-Men that he remembers, the time-displaced young X-Men, and even a few new faces. He has found the remnants of the real Marvel Universe from before Battleworld, before Doom took over. And they decide to give him one more thing. So they bring him to the home of the son of a Wolverine, his son from the Ultimate Universe, James Hudson. He asks Emma why she brought him here, and she explains he deserved to know that his legacy was living on somewhere. Tears began to roll down the old man's face. Good-looking boy. And he asks, you said a Wolverine. Where are we? We're working on that. There was some kind of accident, and we seem to be in two places at once, two dimensions poured over on top of each other. We just can't figure out how Doom is allowing this. So Emma and Wolverine enter his mindscape again as she explains that he needs to relax now. Time and space are broken and everything is wrong. But eventually, heroes will do something huge to correct this, to make time and space right again. She believes that when that happens, he'll be leading the charge through the front door, because just maybe all of his lifetimes were leading up to this moment. The universe was training him for the day that it would need him the most. So what happens after that, Emma? What happens after we rise up against God? I don't know. But maybe, after all of this, maybe we'll get a second chance. The story of God Doom's fall is another tale, one called Secret Wars that we'll be getting to soon. But after it ends, the white light arrives again, and Logan wakes up in some trash. He walks out into the streets of New York and sees a new world, a new year, and a new beginning. A second chance. It looks like Logan will be joining the all-new, all-different Marvel Universe. I hope you guys enjoyed this. It does continue where the last Old Man Logan left off, and it seems to lead right into his appearances in the Extraordinary X-Men issue 1. If you guys enjoyed this, give this video a like, and I'll see you next time right here at Comicstorian.